Entry stops and limits, or this is a second part or supplemental to entry stops and limits. I want to get into a very unique situation where we have in our areas of new support and resistance. It's called a Lone Ranger. It's when the only thing we have in support and resistance is a single area of support and resistance, and it is not in this middle pivot column. Okay? Is not in the middle pivot column. It's off to the side, one side or the other, okay? So, like for example here, we have a Lone Ranger at 74.44. We closed the previous day at 74.66. What this is saying at 74.44 is that this is the support area that we're looking at and expecting to see some type of support. If it can't hold it, then we have a problem. If you see also here, look, in our RSI, we're seeing exhaustion. It's 100%. I mean, this thing is done its deal here, okay? So it's going to look for relief. This 74.44 is awfully close to 74.66. So if you're long, pretty much 10 or so pips underneath that 74.44, the bottom is gone, okay? Let's take a look also. There's nothing supporting it. 74.06, 73.93, okay? So you would let go of any longs that you had once you pass underneath 74.44. If it was an area where this was showing maybe a lower RSI, you could use it as a bouncing board to go long from that point. But at this point, with the RSI being such in a state of exhaustion, that you would have to consider the fact that if it falls below there, you need to stop out and get out and keep your profit. Here it shows up one more time, 73.66. This time it's shown a support area from the previous day of reaching down to 73.07 and bouncing all the way back to 74.25. Now, in that situation, this would be support. You could consider going long. However, it doesn't even get close. Here's another Lone Ranger at 76.08. Let's take a look at this row and see what's happening. 76.08 is above the 75.49. And let's take a look and see what's happening in the movement that we're getting. We're dropping in our RSI below the 75-point threshold on the RSI. We had a strong move to the downside. This is dangerous in that we'll probably see some type of rebound because we are looking for longs. But to counter trend ourselves, we could use that Lone Ranger to give us a place to counter trend with the short, 76.08. Well, we'd like to see that confirmed with some other levels. 76.01, 76.08, that's not bad. Are possibly looking into some previous areas. Does 76 show up anywhere back here? No, it doesn't. So you would look at, okay, well, we'll do the 76.08. There's 76.25 above it, 76.39 above it. So you put your stop above maybe the 76.39, going short at 76.08. The high reaches 76.37, almost stopping you out, but from the 76.08 you find yourself going back down to 75.40, gaining 68 pips. So that Lone Ranger did help you pay off a little bit of a gain. Let's take a look at another Lone Ranger, 75.67 here. I hope you're getting the gist of what I'm trying to do here. The Lone Ranger is kind of like your do or die level. Okay, 76.07, 75.67. Never reaches it, didn't even get close, but that's where you would have been stopping if you were long at this point. Your 75.67 would have been the point to let it go and say goodbye. I see another set of Lone Rangers all lining up here, here, and here, and here. Based on the 77.12, this is underneath. This is the point of no return. It doesn't meet it, so it continues in its move to the long side. 77.20 would be where you would say, hey, the long's got to go underneath 77.20, and thank goodness that you did, because it went way deep down once it passed that 77.20. Okay, here we've got 76.92 as resistance. A Lone Ranger, place to go short. It never even gets close to it. But you see how it creates that barrier. 74.66 from 75.21. 74.61 and bounces all the way back to 75.25. So going long there would have been great. Okay? And putting a short not too far underneath it, of course. I'm sorry, not a short, but a stop from the long that you held. Okay, give it about 10 or 15 pips underneath there to, look for some confirmation. 74.66. Do we see 74.66 in the past? Well, let's see. 74.86, 74.19. Nothing showing up right here. So what's the next step? Let's work our way across and see if we can find 74.66 somewhere else, such as maybe in our stops and limits. Not there. How about our channels? Not there. 74.99, not there. So it's really on its own. It doesn't even get past 60. It touches it just enough to fill the 74.66, but not enough to stop it out. And that brings us back to a rebound of 75.25. So that would be a good entry to take long and work that Lone Ranger. It would be a counter trend because this is showing short. Okay. So there you have it. This is the Lone Ranger, and that's how we deal with the Lone Ranger. It's think of it as a point of do or die that we take entries from. That it can either, if it's broken, it can fall from there, or it can be used as a ultimate support or resistance level.